Hi, today I'm joined by Andy Wright, and Andy and I worked together on quite a large menopause program over the last few years, and I really wanted to catch hold of you today, Andy, to discuss, I guess, the male perspective on menopause in the workplace. So thanks ever so much for giving me some of your precious time. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome, Mel, and I think it's a really important topic. So I'm really happy to have the conversation.
Brilliant. Well, um, as you know, I will talk about menopause all day and all night, but I guess I'm really interested in different perspectives and understanding from you what was your first perspective, your first experience of menopause in the workplace. So when did you first sort of have any sort of line of sight of menopause?
Yeah, I think I was a really young manager. Sadly, a lot younger than I am now. So we're talking a long time ago. I was probably like late 20s, and I had one of my team come to me, telling me that she was having menopausal symptoms, and to be honest, I just felt like a bit of a rabbit in the headlights. Then I didn't. I'd heard of it, but heard of it on TV. So I was completely uneducated.
Yeah.
Any sort of myths were probably in my head. And whilst I was really sympathetic, and I really wanted to help the lady in my team, I just felt that I just really didn't know what to do, or didn't know what to say, or it wasn't a conversation I felt comfortable or prepared to have. And I think as I've got older and more life experience generally, and through the work that we've done as well, I feel like I know a lot more now, and I reflect really badly in terms of how I handled that sort of back in the day. Whilst I was sympathetic, I really could have done a lot more.
And how old were you at the time? Do you remember?
Oh, well, late 20s probably.
Yeah, so it's probably like an alien concept at that point,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
What do you think you learned from that first experience?
Looking back, I think I learned that I needed to just be more receptive and more curious, if that's an appropriate word, in terms of building my understanding and understanding what was going on, rather than
Mm.
just taking a symptom and trying to offer a solution. So I
Yeah,
think
we
sort
sometimes
of,
think we've got to fix it, don't we?
yeah, I'm not fixing it. I'm thinking I don't know what it is. I'm trying to fix, and well, so I've only really heard of this, and I don't really know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so, being out of my depth is probably how I feel.
So when did you have another experience of it in the workplace after that?
Um, Well, I guess yeah. A few years later, I'd had so a bit more life experience and sort of family experience. Yeah, so then had a couple of situations where similarly people in my teams had come to me to share, and again, um, felt like I want very sort of sympathetic, want to sort of display empathy, but I think
Yeah.
what I'd learned then was really sort of listening and understanding, and actually understanding different types of symptoms, and not jumping to conclusions or trying to fix problems, but really wanting to hear and listen, and understand what type of support might be appropriate in those individual situations.
And sometimes they don't want support, right? They just want you to hear it and
Yeah,
to know, right?
yeah,
But yeah, sometimes as leaders we think we've got to answer all of the problems. Actually, it's just understanding, I think, sometimes. So
yeah, definitely.
So why do you think men need to be part of the menopause conversation?
Because I think it just affects menopause affects everybody in different ways. I
Mm.
mean, without being too sort of cliche about it, we're all someone's son or brother or partner or cousin or friend, or whatever. So it affects those around us. And I also
Yeah.
think it's really important that that everybody is prepared to have the conversation, to hear, and to talk openly about it. And I don't think it should always fall on the shoulders of the person that's experiencing that
Mm.
symptom to be the person that's really vocal. We all need to be there to listen. So I think men have got a really important role in not shutting conversations down, and
Mm.
listening and understanding and educating ourselves.
So in the workplace, is there anything else, do you think, that's an important role for men to take beyond listening and being open?
I think so. I think it's really important for men to educate themselves. I think it's not a woman sort of only issue. You know, men need to have the same level of education, access to information, and awareness. I think that's really important to be able to support our colleagues and and people who might be working in our teams.
Yeah. And are there any benefits of sort of menopause awareness beyond the workplace? Does it give us anything beyond that?
Massively, I think so. I think just sort of having that access to knowledge, information, building those listening skills, knowing how to have good quality conversations with colleagues around us are all things that are absolutely transferable outside of work and are really important. I think it just makes us more open to our friends, our family, and society generally. I think it really just helps outside of work as well.
I guess as well, some of the skills you're talking about are transferable beyond menopause, right? Uh,
Absolutely. I mean, I'm reflecting back on my experience. Whilst could have handled that situation a lot better, I do feel that, some of the sort of core leadership skills around it, listening and empathy were probably there, but what I didn't have was the knowledge. And
yeah,
absolutely, it's all about good listening, being available for people, being prepared to um, give time when somebody wants to talk, and and letting somebody have that conversation and not closing it down. I think it's absolutely transferable.
yeah. And I think sometimes that knowledge enables a bit more empathy, right? I mean,
Yeah,
one of the things I'll always say to delegates is it's really hard to empathize with something you've not been through. So we have to paint the strongest picture we can of what that might be like. And I say what it might be like because it's very different for everybody. Um, but yeah, I think what you've just shared is really important. So what do you think would be helpful then for leaders in organizations and colleagues? What do you think they need to navigate this menopause thing? What would be helpful?
that's a great question. I think what they need, I think they just, to be honest, I think they just need to have good leadership skills in
Mm,
terms of their relationships with the team, in terms
yeah.
of the trust and level of openness and
Mm,
willingness to just have good conversations anyway. I think that's like fundamental.
mm,
But then on top of that, to have good access at an organizational level to awareness or support and knowing where your boundaries are in terms of providing that support. So a lot of organizations, larger organizations will have counseling services and other things. So I think it's about making sure that leaders are familiar with the resources that are available within the organization as well.
yeah, because it can be quite complicated to navigate sometimes. Out of all
Yeah.
good intentions, there's lots of stuff available. So,
Yeah.
oh, well, thank you ever so much, Andy. Are there any final comments or thoughts you've got around this before we close out?
No, thanks, Mel. I just want to say thanks for reaching out and for allowing me to have a conversation. It's not always an easy conversation, but I think it's a really, really important conversation that we need to have. And I think men have got a really important role in terms of supporting our colleagues, friends and family that might be experiencing menopause, and just enabling that conversation. So thanks ever so much for fixing this up, and thank you for all the great work you're doing on this topic.
Oh, thanks ever so much, Andy. It's been a pleasure to see you. Thanks a lot.
See you later, Mel.